So this year I have 3 sections of Spanish 3 and 2 sections of the dual enrollment Spanish, but in years past I've taught Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, and I'm also certified to teach English. The one thing that I like about teaching Spanish is having shy students at the beginning of the year that think that they can't speak any Spanish in front of anybody, or they simply say, I'm not going to do this. And then as the year progresses, gradually seeing them get more and more comfortable with themselves, and then starting to speak as fluently as they possibly can. I have such a great time just watching them grow, and challenging myself as a professional as well, just because Spanish is my non-native language, and I have to really work at staying in the target language 90% of the time, and I have to practice once a week, typically with like a native speaker tutor, to keep my skills up. And so I love the challenge that I get every single day, but I love to see the growth in my students as well, and we really just grow together, and it's great. One of the things that I like about teaching is that it provides me with clarity. There are so many things in the world that are confusing and hard to understand, but as soon as I step foot in a school or in a classroom, I just feel like I know what's happening. It just feels so natural to me, and making decisions all the time, it just kind of comes automatically, and I have a lot of people to thank for that, but it just feels right when I'm teaching. And then also, I remember a long time ago I was thinking to myself, why do I like teaching? And one of the things was, I'm never going to be a famous cook that goes on Top Chef and competes in front of the world. I'm not going to be a brain surgeon or anything like that, saving people's lives. And I'm not going to be a model walking down the runway at New York Fashion Week, but you put me in a classroom and I totally belong. That this is exactly where I need to be, and I know that with every ounce of certainty that I have. And so that's what I love about teaching, is just feeling like I belong and working with the students every day and getting to know them. It's just great. So for me, innovation is an interesting buzzword that's going around in the education world today. And so for me, innovation is really just being humble and learning from other teachers and taking new ideas and adapting them in your class. Anything from low tech to high tech. So for example, this year, I did not think that I could teach using gestures. So for example, the kids have gestures for different words that we learn in Spanish. This one means walks, camina. This one means sees or ve. And some other ones that we have is agarra, which means grabs, or va for goes. And we have all different kinds of signals and gestures that we use for the vocabulary words. And so what you'll see is that when I tell the students a sentence in Spanish, I'll say, do your gesture, and the students, they are literally signing what the sentence means. And I never in a million years thought that I could do something like that, and it required no technology whatsoever. But then on the flip side of that, I learned a new piece of technology from Miss Lawson, the teacher coach here, about Erasmus. And we used that at the beginning of the year. I made my little posters, posted them on the wall, and the kids were watching the videos and learning Spanish. And then we came back to the class and reconvened and talked for 20 or 30 minutes, and it was just so natural. And I really just think that just being open-minded and open to change is the most important factor in innovation. And so in my classroom, I just try to incorporate anything that I possibly can in my classroom that I know is going to work and that I believe is worth trying. One of the ways that I keep my students engaged with the material is by changing things up every 5, 10, 15 minutes. I typically don't go over 20 minutes for an activity, and what I'll do is when I'm teaching, I'm very aware of their faces. So as soon as I start seeing that attention wane and that enthusiasm, kind of go down a little bit, I'll always switch gears. And sometimes, it'll just be a split-second decision where I thought I was going to do one activity, but I'll completely change it up, just so we maintain that we reset that process of listening and paying attention and being enthusiastic. So I'll look at their faces, I'll make sure that they're paying attention and listening, and then as soon as I see it kind of wane off a little bit and they're drifting in another world, I'll change things up. I might change my tone of voice, I might change my posture, I might start cold calling on somebody. And so it's those like minute by minute or second by second decisions that we make every day to engage our students. I'm not just going to be static and keep things the same all the time. And so really just switching it up in the class and planning different activities once in a while to spice things up a little bit is particularly how I keep the kids engaged, and it seems to work very well. I like teaching at William Monroe very much just because I feel like I'm respected as a professional. Never once have I been turned down in terms of something innovative that I wanted to do. So for example, I tried the flipped classroom, I've gone deskless, and I now do a ton of different things, and there's never been a moment where I've gone to an administrator and said, hey, can I try this? And they've said no, never. And so I feel really respected in that sense. Because I don't have somebody, sitting in an office far away that doesn't speak a foreign language telling me what and how I have to teach. And so to have the respect of the administration and everyone in the parents to allow me to do what I know how to do best, that means the world. And that autonomy, you can't replace that. So I very much so like working here.
I do like that she is always energetic, and she always she doesn't take crap from kids. Like, you mess with her, she's gonna come down on you hard, and not all teachers really do that.
Well, she has a unique way of teaching, and I think it's like special in our school because I don't think any other teacher teaches like the way she teaches.
She is one of the best teachers I've known ever in being in the school, and that's a really big thing because I've been through like 10 kinds of teachers, and she is just the best at doing everything, it seems.
I think that she involves the class in everything, and that especially as a language teacher, she tries to get everyone to speak. Normally that's like something you would do with preschoolers, but this is a language class. We're learning the basics of a language, and you kind of have to learn to talk the language.
Teaching method. Well, one of the unique things is that she doesn't have like assigned seating like many of our other classes. We can sit wherever we want, and like I really like her the seating method. Arrangement.
I love that she's a free spirit and you can talk to her about anything, and she makes Spanish easy to learn.
It's one of my favorite classes actually.
She can be, kind of moody some days, but everyone gets moody.
If you don't make her angry, yes, she is quite easy to get along with.
I look forward to this class very much. This is one of the classes I come to school for.
She's a really social teacher, and she talks to all the students, and it's just really easy to talk to her. You can tell her about anything.
I think she's one of the better Spanish teachers we've got here.